Welcome to sleep with myth. Close your eyes and let the world fade away. Tonight we drift beyond time, where gods dream and stories remember their light. The desert was quiet in a way the mortal world rarely understood. Not empty, not lifeless, but listening. Wind curled over the dunes like drifting silk, carrying whispers of forgotten hymns. Stars shimmered above, their pale fire mirrored by distant dunes of gold. And in the middle of this endless silence, a boy named Kem walked alone. He was young, no more than 16, but the desert treated him as it treated all pilgrims, not as a child, not as a man, but as a seeker. His staff sank softly into the sand as he approached the ruins of the Temple of the Sky Falcon. Moonlight draped the broken pillars in silver, and the carved wings of forgotten gods stretched long shadows across the stone floor. Kem paused. The air changed. Something was coming. Something ancient. Something divine. He closed his eyes as a warm current of wind brushed his cheek. A strange wind, rising from the ground instead of falling from the sky. He opened his eyes and saw it, a single golden feather drifting down from the heavens, glowing, humming softly, as if woven from sunlight and memory. Kem felt his breath catch. The feather touched the desert floor without a sound. The moment it landed, the world shifted. The wind halted. The stars trembled. The moon dimmed as if bowing. Kem stepped forward, heart hammering like a distant drum in his chest. He knelt and reached toward the feather. The moment his fingers brushed the gold, light exploded outward, not blinding, not harsh, but warm, alive, ancient. It rushed through him, igniting his veins with a sensation like fire mixed with starlight. Images flashed behind his eyes. A great falcon soaring above the Nile, a throne of sunlight, eyes that burned with the sharpness of justice, a battle cry echoing across eternity. Horus. The name struck his bones like a divine bell. Kem fell to the ground, gasping. The wind returned hard, furious, swirling sand into spirals around him. And then a voice spoke, not with sound, with presence. Child of the desert, why do you carry my feather? Kem froze. The voice came from everywhere. The sky, the dunes, the ruins, yet also from within his chest. He looked at the feather in his trembling palm. I do not know, he whispered. It fell from the sky. I thought it was a sign. A low rumble, half thunder, half breath, rolled across the desert. It is more than a sign. Kem swallowed. With every heartbeat, the feather grew warmer, pulsing with golden light that spilled between his fingers. What do you want from me? He whispered. The desert wind died. Silence spread. Then softly, like dawn rising, help me return. A shock ran through Kem's body. Return? The word echoed painfully inside him. Horus, the sky falcon, the Lord of Kings, the eternal eye, had not been seen on earth for ages. Legends said he slept beyond the horizon of time, in a dream carved from flame and shadow after the war against Set. It has been long since I last walked the sands, the voice continued. My strength fades, my light wanes. I am lost within a dream not of my making. The feather flickered weakly. Kem felt despair radiate from it. Ancient, heavy, heartbreaking. I cannot wake, Horus whispered, but with the feather you carry, you may enter my dream. Kem's pulse quickened. Enter a god's dream? The air shimmered with an unseen movement, like wings brushing the veil between worlds. Yes, my dream is a labyrinth of memory and shadow. Set's echoes still linger there. If I remain trapped, Egypt's sky will darken, its kings will fall, its future will break. Kem stared at the feather, throat tight. And why me? He asked, voice trembling. The wind answered first, lifting sand into spirals shaped like falcon wings. Then the god spoke, because you heard my call, and only those who listen can enter the realm of dreams. The light around Kem deepened to gold, swirling like a vortex opening beneath his feet. The world tilted, the ruins dissolved, the desert melted into darkness. Kem's final sight before the dream took him was the golden feather burning like a small sun in his hand. And Horus' voice echoed gently, "Come, seeker, walk my dream, find me." The world shattered like glass, and Kem fell into the dream of the golden feather. The world around Kem reshaped itself slowly, like sand turning into glass. At first there was nothing, no sky, no ground, only a quiet gold mist drifting around him. The feather in his hand glowed brighter. Its warmth steadied him, kept him anchored as the dream realm pulsed and formed. Then the mist parted, and Kem found himself standing upon a vast expanse of sky. Not air, sky, solid beneath his feet as though woven from sunlight. Clouds drifted below him like silent oceans. Above, the heavens stretched endless and pale, tinged with gold. Everything felt distant, too distant, like a world remembering itself. Kem swallowed. So this is Horus' dream. But it did not feel like a dream. No warmth of memory, no comfort of slumber. Felt broken. A long crack ran across the sky path beneath Kem's feet, thin as a thread, glowing with faint red light. When he knelt to inspect it, he felt a cold pulse rising from within, like the heartbeat of something deep and ancient. The crack whispered, a voice, not Horus, but sharp, cold, heavy with malice. "I see you, little mortal." Kem stumbled back. The crack widened, only for a moment, revealing a flash of red sand and a serpent-shaped shadow coiling through it. Set. The echo vanished as quickly as it appeared. Kem steadied his breath. This place, it's wounded. He looked at the feather again. Its golden light flickered, as if struggling to remain steady. A distant sound rose across the dream realm. A call, strained and fading. A falcon's cry. Horus. Kem tightened his grip on the feather and began to walk toward the sound. The river of fallen suns. The sky beneath his feet shifted with each step, turning from pale gold to deep blue, then to the shimmering orange of a desert sunset. Ahead, something new appeared, flowing, glowing, endless. A river, but not water. a river made of light, sunlight, molten and liquid, flowing across the sky like a ribbon of fire, the river of fallen suns. Kem approached cautiously. Heat radiated from it, warm but not burning. As he leaned over its edge, he saw fragments drifting in the current. Shards of battles long forgotten, images of kings standing beneath falcon wings, the first pharaoh lifting the crown to the sky. Memories, Horus memories. Kem whispered to the river, "Show me where he is." For a moment nothing happened. Then one of the light shards drifted toward him, rising from the river and unfolding like a petal of gold. Kem gasped. Inside the shard he saw a vast desert made of shadow. A falcon struggled in the center of it, its wings bound by serpent-shaped chains of darkness. Red sandstorms howled through the scene as Set's laughter echoed like thunder. The shard dimmed. The image vanished. Kem stared at the place where it had been. Horus is trapped in that darkness. The feather throbbed in agreement. A voice, Horus' voice, whispered faintly from it, "Seek the place where the shadow meets the sun. Only there will the path open." Kem nodded. "I'll find you." He turned away from the river and froze. A towering figure stood before him, human-shaped, but made entirely of cracked mirror. Its surface reflected the sky, the river, and Kem himself, but distorted. The Dream Sentinel, a guardian of Horus' mind. Its voice was slow, deep, echoing like distant stone shifting. "You walk in the god's memory. State your purpose." Kem's heart pounded. "I carry the feather of Horus," he said, raising it. "I've come to help him wake." The sentinel lowered its faceless head. "Horus sleeps in a prison carved from his own sorrow and Set's lingering shadow." "I know," Kem replied. "Show me the way." But the sentinel raised an enormous hand, blocking the path. "No one may reach the Shadow Sun unless they know the truth of the god they seek." Kem swallowed. "What truth?" The sentinel's mirrored surface rippled, and suddenly images flared across its body. Horus losing his eye in battle, Horus rising against Set again and again, Horus crowned but lonely, Horus watching over Egypt even when his heart was exhausted. The sentinel's voice shook the sky. "To save the god, you must understand the wound. What do you know of his sorrow?" Kem hesitated. "I know he fought Set. I know he lost his eye. I know he defended the throne." "Not enough," the sentinel thundered. "You see the god, but not the pain." The golden feather pulsed sharply, and a rush of images flooded Kem's mind. Horus holding the dying Osiris. Horus standing alone against storms of chaos. Horus rising from defeat again and again, refusing to let Egypt fall. Horus looking at the empty horizon after centuries of battles won but never celebrated. Kem gasped. "He was tired," he whispered. "He fought for everyone, and no one ever saw how much it cost him." The sentinel stilled. The mirrored body dimmed slightly, like a bow of respect. "You see the wound. Then you may take the first step." The sentinel lifted its hand. The sky split open behind it, revealing a swirling doorway of gold and shadow intertwined. "The path of the shadow sun awaits," the sentinel intoned, not with a voice, but with a memory. Light burst from its cracks, swirling through the hall. The fractured sky above began to replay a vision like a torn tapestry coming to life. Horus battling set in the storming sky. Lightning tearing open clouds. Blood and shadow falling like rain. And then, a moment Kem had never heard in any legend. Horus being struck not in body but in spirit. A blow that landed deeper than any spear. A whisper of treachery. A cut through memory. A wound inside the soul. Set had not merely fought him. Set had scarred his dream. The vision snapped away. The hall dimmed. Kem exhaled shakily, gripping the golden feather in his hand. "I see now," he murmured. "You weren't trapped. You were wounded." The air trembled with Horus' reply, and the wound grew until it became a prison, the mirror of dawn. Kem continued along the golden path as the hall faded into mist. The dream shifted again, this time into a smaller chamber, circular, quiet, lit by a soft glow that seemed to rise from nowhere. At its center stood a mirror, but not a normal mirror. The surface shimmered like molten sunrise, orange, gold, white, forever shifting. Kem approached, breath uneven. "What is this place?" Horus' voice lowered. "Look, and see the part of me that sleeps." Kem raised the mirror with both hands. The surface rippled. Instead of his reflection, he saw a falcon's eye, closed, motionless, dimmed of all light. A god's dreamless sleep. Kem's heart tightened. He touched the mirror. The eye flinched. A tremor shook the chamber. The dream cracked. A harsh whisper rose from behind him. "Leave him sleeping." Kem froze. Shadows poured along the floor like spilled ink, curling upward into the vague shape of a jackal-headed silhouette, twisted, wrong, wrapped in coils of sand and smoke. Not Set himself, but the echo of his malice. A fragment left inside Horus' wounded dream. Kem stepped back, clutching the feather. "Walk it, seeker of Horus." Kem stepped forward. The feather glowed brighter than ever, illuminating his path. He inhaled sharply, and walked into the swirling doorway, toward the darkness where the god of the sky waited, trapped between memory and sorrow, toward the place where sunlight met shadow. Kem did not land in a place. He awoke into one. The darkness around him rippled like ink in water, shifting with each breath he took. It was not shadow, not truly. It was memory made soft, folded upon itself like fabric. Shapes formed and dissolved in an instant. Wings, crowns, broken thrones, eyes watching from nowhere and everywhere. He stood on a narrow pathway of gold dust that floated in midair, stretching endlessly into the dark. Beneath it, nothing. Above it, nothing. Only the dream. A low wind brushed against his skin. Not cold, not warm, just present. Kem, Horus' voice. It echoed from beyond the unseen horizon. "You are close," the god whispered, "but my dream is wounded. Beware what lingers here." Kem took a step forward. The golden path pulsed beneath his feet, and the dream changed. The hall of broken skies. A great hall appeared around him, vast, endless, its ceiling a swirling sky of fractured pieces. Shards of blue, gold, crimson, and night spun in a slow orbit, shifting like puzzle pieces that had forgotten how to fit. In the center stood a massive stone pillar carved with the image of a falcon, but not whole. The wings were cracked, the head was shattered, the eyes were missing entirely. Kem swallowed. This was Horus' symbol broken beyond repair. "What happened here?" he whispered. The pillar answered. The shadow tilted its head. "Horus is weak," it hissed. "Let him fade. The skies will be unguarded. Chaos will rise." Kem steadied his breath. "No," he said. "Egypt needs him." The shadow laughed, hollow and sharp. "And who are you, boy of dust? A mortal? A wanderer? A child lost in a god's nightmare?" Kem lifted the feather higher. "I am the one who answered." The dream shook violently. The shadow lunged. The feather awakens. Kem thrust the golden feather forward. Light erupted. Not just light, memory. The feather unleashed scenes of Horus' victories, his guardianship over kings, the way he commanded storms, the way he held the sky steady with his wings. Strength, honor, justice. The shadow recoiled, shrieking. Kem stepped forward, forcing the light toward it. "You do not belong here," he shouted. The shadow cracked like glass. Fragments flew into the air, dissolving into dust. Silence returned. Slowly, the chamber brightened. The mirror of dawn glowed warmer, gentler, its molten light rippling in slow waves. Kem approached it again. This time, the falcon's eye inside was open, just barely. Golden light peeked through. "Kem," Horus whispered, voice stronger. "You have awakened the first part of me. But the dream is deep, and darker tests remain." Kem nodded, clutching the feather. "I'll follow wherever your dream leads." The mirror dissolved into golden mist. A new path appeared before him, descending into a labyrinth of light and shadow intertwined. The voice of Horus guided him onward. "Come, seeker. To wake a god, you must face the truth that lies beneath the sky." Kem stepped forward, and the dream swallowed him whole once more. Kem stepped into the descending corridor of golden mist, feeling the dream tighten around him like a second skin. The warm glow of the mirror of dawn faded behind him, replaced by a colder, deeper radiance, one that pulsed like a heartbeat beneath the earth. The air shifted. The golden path beneath his feet dissolved into sandstone, warm from an unseen sun. Ancient carvings emerged on the walls. Spirals, falcons, crowns, suns split in two halves. Every symbol throbbed faintly with tired magic, as if the dream itself was trying to remember how to breathe. Kem tightened his grip on the feather of Horus. "Where are we now?" he whispered. Horus' voice drifted from somewhere ahead, distant but steady. "You walk through my forgotten fears." Kem swallowed, unease coiling in his chest. "And what fears does a god have?" Horus answered only with silence. "Not refusal. Not anger. Silence, heavy enough to feel like truth. Kem continued forward. The corridor widened, the carvings growing more frantic, scarred talons, broken crowns, a sun with a jagged crack through its center. As he passed his hand along the wall, the images flickered, rearranging themselves into memories. A throne without a king, a sky without wings, a world without light. Horus feared losing himself, Kem murmured. And he did. The chamber of two suns. The corridor opened into a vast circular chamber. Its ceiling rose into darkness so complete that it swallowed the glow of the golden feather. In the center stood a stone platform shaped like an enormous solar disk, half gleaming white, half scorched black. Two orbs floated above it. One was a radiant miniature sun, pulsing gold like a heartbeat. The other, a hollow dark sphere, absorbed even the dreamlight around it. Kem felt himself drawn toward them. Horus, he called. This time the god answered at once, his voice deeper, more human. You stand before the trial I could not face. Kem looked between the twin suns. What am I supposed to do? The dark orb shuddered. A wave of cold rippled through the chamber. The golden sun dimmed slightly, shrinking as if frightened. Horus' voice tightened. That shadow is the fear set carved into me. The fear of failure. The fear of becoming the very storm I swore to defeat. Kem took a step forward. The dark orb pulsed violently. Kem froze as the air thickened into choking shadows that curled around him like smoke. A whisper seeped into his ears. You are too small, too weak, too late. He shook his head. No! You cannot save a god. You cannot even save yourself. Kem's heart pounded. Stop! You have no place in this dream, mortal. The dark sphere expanded, and the shadow smoke took the shape of a falcon. Twisted, broken, its wings snapping like brittle reeds. Corrupted Horus. Kem stumbled back. The golden sun flared weakly, fighting the darkness but losing ground. Horus' true voice trembled. Kem, do not listen. It speaks only with stolen truth. But the shadow falcon stepped closer, talons scraping stone. This is what Horus truly fears, it hissed. That he is no longer a guardian, but a wound. The chamber dimmed. The dark falcon's eyes glowed red. It lunged. The immortal fear. Kem barely had time to raise the golden feather before the creature struck. A shock wave of shadow slammed into him, throwing him across the chamber's floor. He hit the stone disc hard. The breath knocked from his body. The shadow spread across the platform like spilled ink. Kem staggered to his feet. You're not real, he gasped. The shadow falcon laughed. A hollow, echoing sound. I am the part of Horus he refused to face. The fear he buried. The doubt he denied. And I grow stronger each time he remembers the pain. Kem felt his knees tremble. The creature was not simply shadow. It was emotion given form. God-sized fear condensed into a body. How was he supposed to fight something like this? The feather pulsed in his hand. Gold light spread across his palm. Horus' voice murmured, Trust the feather. Trust me. Kem exhaled shakily, steadied his grip, and faced the darkness. "Come then," he whispered. "If you're Horus fear, then I must face you too." The shadow falcon roared and charged. The clash of light and shadow. Kem thrust the feather upward. A beam of gold shot out, forming a shield of living sunlight around him. The shadow falcon slammed into the barrier, shrieking, its form blistering where the light touched it. But the creature was enormous and angry. It shredded the ground with talons made of grief and smoke, circling him like a storm. "What do you fear, boy?" it hissed. "Is it death? Weakness? Is it the weight of carrying a god's fate?" Kem held the feather close to his heart. "No," he said. "I fear failing someone who trusted me." The shadow falcon hesitated. A single crack formed across its chest, leaking darkness. Kem pressed forward. "Let me pass," he said softly. "I'm not here to replace Horus. I'm here to help him stand again." The creature shuddered. Its voice fractured. "You cannot heal what was broken by gods." Kem shook his head. "I'm not trying to heal it. I'm trying to face it." The black sun pulsed violently, pulling the shadow falcon back into itself. The creature writhed, shrinking, collapsing inward. The chamber trembled. The shadow falcon screamed, not in rage, but in release. And then, shattered into dust. The dark sphere cracked open. From within came a thin beam of gold. The shadow was gone. The fear defeated. For now, the balance of suns. The chamber grew still. The golden sun brightened again, breathing deeply as if revived. Its glow reached toward the cracked dark orb, weaving light into its broken surface. Horus spoke, his voice steadier. "You have done what I could not. You faced the fear that gnawed at my spirit." Kem stepped toward the sun. "What happens now?" The golden orb lowered itself to him. Its light poured into the feather, transforming it. The gold deepened to a radiant white-hot brilliance. Kem shielded his eyes. When the light dimmed, the feather had changed. It was no longer a simple plume. It was a wing fragment, a piece of divine power. Horus' voice brushed Kem's ear like a warm wind. "One piece of me has awakened, but the dream has deeper shadows yet. You must descend further." Kem nodded. The chamber walls dissolved into drifting starlight. A staircase of gold appeared before him, spiraling downward into swirling darkness. The voice of Horus whispered, "Come, seeker, to return me to the sky. You must walk into the place where even light fears to shine." Kem took his first step. The dream deepened. Kem descended the golden staircase, each step sinking deeper into a darkness that did not feel empty, but watchful. The air thickened as if layered with dust from forgotten centuries. Whispers swirled around him, too faint to understand, too heavy to ignore. Somewhere far above, the light of the upper chambers faded until only a faint glow remained around the divine feather in his hand. He stepped off the last stair, and the world changed. The Valley of Quiet Crowns. Kem found himself standing in a valley carved entirely of black stone. Obsidian pillars rose from the ground like broken teeth, each crowned with a faint shape, a headpiece, a circlet, a crown, etched in dim blue fire. But not one of them shone fully. Every crown flickered. Every crown trembled. Every crown was silent. Kem exhaled slowly. Horus, these are yours? The god's voice drifted through the valley like warm smoke. These are the thrones I could not claim. Kem touched the closest pillar. A memory exploded outward. A vision of Horus reaching for a throne of sunrise gold, only for it to dissolve into mist every time he laid a hand upon it. Failure, loss, unworthiness. Horus spoke again, softer this time. A king who doubts himself casts a long shadow. Kem lowered his gaze. He understood. This was not a trial of monsters or enemies. This was a hall of regrets. The throne that waited. At the far end of the valley stood a massive platform shaped like a falcon's wings. Upon it rested a throne made of pure, polished gold, yet cracked through the center. The cracks glowed with red lightning. Kem felt a chill crawl up his arms. That looks like Set's power. Horus' reply hummed with anger. He wanted my throne not by taking it, but by breaking my spirit. The golden throne pulsed. The cracks widened. Kem stepped closer. A gust of hot wind slammed into him as the valley darkened. The throne began to reshape itself. Growing talons, twisted wings, snapping jaws made of molten gold. It became a beast, a guardian forged from Horus' wounded pride. Its voice boomed across the valley. You are not my king. Kem raised the feather instinctively. I'm not trying to be. The creature took a single earth-shaking step forward, obsidian dust swirling around its claws. Then why do you carry his light? Kem steadied himself. Because he trusted me. The throne beast roared. Sandstorms erupted from its wings, hurling shards of gold and shadow toward him. Kem shielded his face, stumbling back as the ground shook under his feet. Horus' voice came like a whisper cutting through a storm. Do not fight it. It is not your enemy. Kem froze. What do you mean? It's trying to kill me. It is not trying to destroy you. It is trying to test whether you will give up. Kem looked at the roaring creature again. Its eyes, though burning red, held something deeper. Fear. Not anger. Not hatred. Fear that no one was worthy of carrying the light of the sky. Kem lowered the feather and stepped forward. The fear of kings. The throne beast snarled. Do you believe you can sit upon this throne? Kem shook his head. I believe no mortal should. Another gust of wind blasted sand across his face. Then why walk this path? Kem took another step. His voice steadied. Because if I don't help Horus rise again, the sky will fall. The beast's wings flickered. And what of you, child? What do you fear? Kem hesitated. The beast leaned in, eyes burning. Do you fear failure? Yes. Do you fear disappointing the God who trusts you? Yes. Do you fear you are not enough? Kem swallowed hard. Yes. The creature exhaled a blast of scorching air. Not an attack. A release. The red lightning cracks began to flicker and collapse inward. The beast shrank, its monstrous form dissolving into golden dust. Slowly, painfully, it became a throne again. Horus' voice returned, quiet, warm, steady. You faced my fear by admitting your own. The throne restored. The cracked throne glowed with soft, radiant gold. The fractures sealed themselves, weaving into patterns of wings and sunlight. Kem approached. I didn't do anything, he whispered. You did everything, Horus answered. My pride built the cage. Your humility broke it. Golden light streamed from the throne, flooding the valley, filling the cracks in every silent crown surrounding them. Each one flared with new life, blue, gold, white, rekindled like forgotten stars. The divine feather burned brighter in Kem's hand, reshaping itself again. Longer, sharper, alive with sunfire. Another part of you is awakened, Kem said softly. Yes, Horus replied, but the deepest shadow remains. The valley dissolved into swirling light. A new doorway opened beneath Kem's feet, a descent into even darker dreams, deeper scars. Horus spoke with a tremor that even a god could not hide. Come, Seeker, to restore me fully, you must walk into the memory I have never spoken aloud. Kem braced himself. Kem fell. But unlike the other descents, this one carried weight. The golden stairway dissolved into smoke as the dream pulled him downward. Not gently, not slowly, but with the force of an entire forgotten era collapsing at once. The air roared in his ears, pressing him into a cocoon of light and darkness. Horus' voice did not guide him this time. Silence did. A silence so complete it felt carved from stone. When Kem finally touched ground, he staggered forward into a world unlike any he had seen in the dream before. The other layers of Horus' spirit had been broken, wounded, shadowed. This one was abandoned. The desert without a sun. The dream around him had no sky, no wind, no light. It was a landscape made entirely of ash-gray sand, stretching into a horizon that never curved, as if the world had forgotten how to be a world at all. Kem shivered. Even the golden feather dimmed here, its glow reduced to a faint heartbeat of gold. Horus, Kem whispered. No answer. He continued forward until the ground changed from sand to something smoother. Polished stone, black and cold. It formed a narrow path cutting through the emptiness. On either side of the path lay broken statues of falcons. Crushed wings, shattered crowns, eyeless faces turned toward the dead sky. This place was wrong. Felt like a wound that had never stopped bleeding. Then, faint, barely more than breath, he heard it. Kem, Horus' voice. Weak, fading. Kem ran. The memory buried in shadow. The path ended at a vast chasm. Inside it, floating above the abyss, was a single scene, glowing faintly like an old, flickering memory. Kem stepped closer. The memory sharpened. He saw a battlefield made of storm clouds. Horus locked in combat with Set. Lightning swallowing the sky. Wings beating like thunder. Blood gold and red, falling through the storm. But something else. Something Kem had not seen in any story. The moment Set struck Horus down. Not physically, spiritually, a blow of pure betrayal. Kem watched as Set drove a spear of shadow not into Horus' body, but straight into his chest, into the god's heart, his memory, his identity. Horus staggered, wings faltering. The sky cracked. A scream tore through the heavens, and went silent. Kem felt tears fill his eyes. This is the moment you never told the world, he whispered. The memory dimmed, but the chasm beneath it pulsed once, twice, like a heartbeat. And then Kem saw him, the fallen falcon, at the edge of the abyss, lying motionless on the stone, was a shape made of gold and shadow. Horus, not the mighty god of kings, not the sky-soaring falcon, a broken being curled in on itself, wings cracked, feathers dim, light leaking slowly from his body like water from a shattered jar. Kem ran to him. Horus, I'm here. A flicker of golden light answered. Kem, the god whispered, this is the place I hid, even from myself. Kem knelt beside him. You don't have to hide anymore. Horus' eyes, dim, unfocused, lifted slightly. You have walked through my doubts, my regrets, my fear of the throne. His voice faltered. But this wound, this moment, I have never healed. Kem touched the golden feather to the cracked feathers of Horus' wing. A burst of light sparked, but immediately fizzled. The wound was too deep. Kem, Horus whispered. This scar was not meant for mortals to bear. Even your courage cannot mend what gods destroy. Kem closed his eyes. His heart ached. I didn't come to heal you, he whispered. I came so you wouldn't face this alone. Silence. Then, a breath. Horus exhaled, and something in the air shifted. Kem, he murmured softly, you are not like the others. Kem swallowed hard. I'm just a boy. You are a seeker, Horus corrected. A heart that listens. And that is what the sky needs most. Before Kem could answer, the chasm trembled. A new presence stirred within it. A voice rose, deep, cold, sharp like obsidian cutting through flesh. You have walked far, mortal. Kem froze. He knew that voice. Set, but not Set's body, only his shadow, the echo of the wound he left in Horus' spirit. The darkness rose from the chasm like smoke, forming a towering figure with horns shaped from swirling night. You dare try to mend what I broke? The shadow sneered. You dare enter a god's final weakness? Kem stood. No, he said softly. I dare to stand with him. The shadow snarled. I will break you the way I broke him. It surged forward. The final trial. Kem lifted the feather. This time it did not shine. It blazed. White hot, brighter than the sun, brighter than any dream. Set's shadow recoiled. What is this? Kem steadied his breath. It's the part of Horus you couldn't destroy. He stepped forward. The part that endures. Another step. The part that rises. Another. The part that remembers who he is. The feather erupted, releasing a storm of gold. The shadow screamed as cracks split across its body. "This is not possible." Kem's voice rose above the storm. "You wounded him, but you did not win." The shadow exploded into dust. The chasm sealed. Silence returned. But this time it was gentle. The return of the sky. Kem turned back to Horus. The god lay still, but the cracks in his feathers were gone. Slowly he lifted his head. "Kem." His voice was no longer broken, no longer weak. Golden light ignited beneath his skin, spreading across his wings, his eyes, his crown. The entire dream began to glow. "You faced the memory I feared most," Horus said. "You walked deeper than any mortal has ever dared. And because of you," his wings unfurled, filling the dream with radiance. "I rise." The golden feather dissolved into pure sunlight, flowing into Horus' body. Kem shielded his eyes. A gust of wind erupted, not desert wind, but sky wind. When the light faded, the falcon god stood before him in his full glory, tall, radiant, crowned with the sun itself. "Kem," Horus said gently, "you have awakened me." Kem exhaled shakily. "So, is this goodbye?" Horus placed a hand over the boy's heart. "For now." Light swirled around them. "You will return to your world." "But what about you?" Kem asked. Horus smiled. "I will return to mine." The dream cracked, split, opened, and light swallowed everything. The awakening. Kem gasped awake on the desert floor. Dawn was rising. The sky was clear. And above him, soaring high on wings of gold, was Horus. Alive, awake, returned. A single feather drifted from the sky, landing gently in Kem's hand. But this one did not burn with divine power. It was a gift, a memory, promise. Horus' voice echoed on the morning wind. "Walk with courage, seeker. You carry not my power, but my light." Kem bowed his head. The sun rose, and the dream of the golden feather